everybody watches everything. Good evening, entrepreneurs. Joe DeChara back to you once again, coming to you live from downtown Flushing. I almost forgot where I was for a minute. I'm in New York, and I was in the eye of the pandemic. Now it looks like there's a bunch of other hotspots, so I'm safe where I am. And if you don't know me, I am a CPA, serial entrepreneur, and this show is called How You Can Win Big at Business, because that's what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to help everyone else in the world do. And that's what I do. I talk about business. I talk with business people like Beth, and I'm going to mess up her name now, Beth Elkassih.
That's good enough. Beth Elkassih.
Okay. And, we've been practicing this for an hour before the show. And, I could relate to the issue because nobody knows how to pronounce DeChara.
Oh, yeah.
Including me. Because my family pronounces it like 5 different ways, so I don't know what the right way is. But
what's the nationality of it, Joe?
Italian.
Oh, okay.
I think it's DeChara, something like that, or DeChara, but I just say DeChara. Or you could just call me Joe, and I'll call you Beth. How is that?
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Okay, so Beth, thank you for visiting me and us tonight. Like I said, we talk about business, and you have a business that I think, for some reason, makes people happy. And I love those kinds of businesses. So, can you tell us a little bit about it and how it came about in like 30 seconds?
In 30 seconds. Okay, let's see. Well, I'm the creator and a professional blogger of the website madeyousmileback.com. And it is a platform where I provide encouragement, inspiration, and more importantly, thought-provoking content in order to do our part in removing the stigma of mental health illness. And it came about because I walked the walk and now I'm talking the talk. I myself have been down that big old rabbit hole and came out on the other side of experiencing acute postpartum depression, and then later on a little bit of anxiety, a little bit more of depression, just life struggles in general. And that's why there's a lot more to it in the end, but that's why I created it. It was a place for people to go, a non-judgment zone, if you will, in order to get encouraged,
That's awesome. I don't know why you just said non-judgment zone. There was a gym. I don't know where they are now, but it was all about no judgment zone. It's like you could just come here and work out and be comfortable.
Yeah, it wasn't a social club, right?
So you just threw me a little bit of a curve because we met like a couple of weeks ago. You attended a couple of my mastermind sessions, and I guess you liked it because you kept coming back.
I did.
So I know we did discuss the mental health thing, but I don't know why it was just completely out of my mind when I was getting ready for this. And I was looking at, typing in, you made me smile back. And I was like, oh, this is going to be about, the positive side of things. And so you brought me back because it started with, what did you call it? Mental illness?
It's to remove the stigma of mental illness.
Okay.
More specifically, people that are suffering from everyday depression, clinical depression, anxiety. But I don't want you to think that this website is more about that on that direction. Actually, it is very, very positive orientated. Like when you leave my site, I want you to have the experience that you're here at position A, not feeling so hot and having a down day. And after you leave, after reading a couple of inspirational quotes or a blog or two, you leave and feel better about yourself and have a much better productive day.
Well, and I believe that, and I think you know that from our conversations in the mastermind meetings. But so now I start the questions start popping up. And I got to
Okay.
keep track of them in my head. Maybe I should write them down. You say stigma. Now I remember when I was a kid, my mother had, I guess it would be called like a nervous breakdown. I don't know what it was,
Mhm.
but she just had maybe it was a panic attack. They
Mhm.
didn't call them panic attacks back then. And she wound up in the hospital. And that, I'll never forget it because I didn't understand what was going on. It seems now that it's like it's okay. Is there really a stigma? I guess that's what my question is.
I Yes, I do believe that there still is. We still have a long way to go. Have we gone pretty far in the last 10, 15 years? Yes, we have. There's a lot of awareness campaigns in order to get the word out for people to reach out. And even now with the COVID-19, people that are normally happy-go-lucky and positive orientated, they've never were faced with quote isolation, maybe if they're an extrovert and now they're having to confine themselves, or having kids at home that they're not used to because they've always been at school. So there is what I call COVID induced anxiety going around. But as far as that stigma, let me just say that you couldn't pronounce my last name, right? Well, that last name is Lebanese. It's Middle Eastern. So I married a wonderful Lebanese Middle Eastern man. And back when I suffered my postpartum depression, it wasn't just postpartum depression, it was acute. And 3 days I was in what they called postpartum psychosis. So I had that meltdown that you were talking about with your mother many years ago, and they didn't know what to call it and all of that. But I remember the psychiatrist, because I did have to see a psychiatrist. I have to go through therapy. I walked the walk. I've done all of that. When she suggested that perhaps the better way for me to recover as quickly as possible was to do an inpatient, type of thing, my husband absolutely 100% refused. He refused. And he goes, no, 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 no. We take care of our own, and
Really?
we'll just have it at home. So I ended up having my sister with me, and another sister took my kids, et cetera, et cetera. Long story short, he made me promise then, I don't want you saying any of this to my side of the family. And the reason is because in his culture, he didn't want his family to think he married someone who's crazy. And
Right, I understand.
yeah, and I lived with that shame for several years. But now, with the way society is now, it's a lot more accepting. But people are still hard to reach out. And I got to tell you, Joe, it's the men. Men are hesitant to reach out. Because they're human like everybody else. You guys get down days, you get depressed, you get sad, you experience grief, right?
No, no, no. I'm thinking about Tony Soprano now and with Dr. Melfi, and that almost got him whacked because he was talking to
Yeah,
somebody.
I remember
But
that.
and it goes back. Yeah, it's the persona. And I think I don't know. I used to think it was an East Coast, construction mentality, truck driver mentality. Like we're good. Only weak people ask for help, and this comes up a lot in our mastermind groups where because at some point, like I said, I talk about business. And at some point in business, you have to ask for help.
Right.
Or if you don't, you're going to be running a very small business. And, I have a coach, Larry Brott, former Green Beret, special ops. He knows how to kill you just by looking at you through the computer.
Oh, wow.
And, award-winning entrepreneur, owns and manages like a whole string of hotels. One of the humblest human beings I ever met. Because he knows he got there because he was able to ask for help. So, it's not just the what would you call it? The stigma or I don't know what it is, but you're right. Men still have an issue with, saying, listen, I'm not in touch with my feelings today.
Yeah.
And so okay, so take me through the business part of it. So when did you say, you know what, I figured out because this is what usually happens when people go into a business like this. You had your experience, you figured out a solution. Now you want to share it with people, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So how long ago was that? And when did you wake up and say, you know what, I think I can make money with this?
Well, 2 years ago, I'm a realtor, by the way. I'm a full-time realtor. And my husband is 3 years, well, now he's just 1 year away from retiring. And we made this life plan to travel the world, right? Well, I have to keep busy. I don't know about you, Joe, but I have to keep busy. And so I wanted something that I could do and that it was portable. So Wi-Fi was the answer, right? And then on top of that, I've always loved to write. In fact, when I went to college, one of my scholarships was based on an essay that I did. And through the years, I never got to write it. I did journals and stuff like that. So I thought, you know what? I think I have something to say. I think I have some content that needs to be said. So I'm going to go ahead and become a blogger because that was the thing to do, At first, it was just to be a platform to spread my message. I didn't care about being monetized or any of that. It was, as my husband would say, it was a hobby. But,
and that's what happens with a lot of people. Like you have a call and you want to, and you wind up doing a lot of stuff for free then.
Yes. About 3 months, and after about 10 blogs and getting reviews from them, I thought, you know what? I think I can make money off of this. I think this could be a business model. So that's when I made the business decision. And when you make a business decision to take a hobby to a business, there's one important ingredient. You have to realize you have to spend money to make money. Because if you do a brick and mortar, right, Joe, you're putting money into assets and inventory and stuff like that. So I created a small business plan and a marketing plan. I had a budget, okay, and I knew the first thing I needed a professional website. So I hired and got Meiji Smallback going on, and then the Facebook and stuff like that. And then my blogs, I made sure that they were what they call SEO, search engine optimized. And my pillar blog is entitled, Joe, I Just Want to Be Happy. And the reason why it is, and the reason why it has the most traffic than any other blog, is that back then when I was...
Sorry about that.
Oh, the red carpet treatment, don't you know? But back when I was getting out of my rabbit hole and climbing out to the other side, one of the things I did is knowledge is power, right, Joe? And so
applied knowledge.
I devoured reading every self-help, positive-minded book. I mean, the Wayne Dyers, the Tony Robbins, the Deepak Chopra's, the Mel Gibbons, on and on. And then I started watching YouTube video after YouTube video, right? But here's the kicker. When I went on the internet and I went to the Google search bar and put, I just want to be happy, and hit that enter key, it was so disappointed.
Really?
And yeah, because the only websites that were coming up were various mental health websites or institutions, or health hospitals like Mayo Clinic, for example. And so that's all well and good. We need those. And so I tapped on Mayo's Clinic. I was very familiar with it, and a couple of other sites too. And all that they were offering to us was, here are the symptoms to see if you're depressed or not. And it's like, well, Joe, I don't know about you. It's like, I don't need anyone to tell me to figure out what my symptoms were. I already knew I was depressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I was looking for was how other people were coping, how other people who walked the walk, who could now talk the talk, who got out and got to themselves, and et cetera, et cetera. And it wasn't there. So when I decided to do Meiji Smile Back, that's why I just want to be happy was my premier blog. And now it is so search engine optimized that if someone like me who 5-10 years ago typed it in, today they will see my blog on the first page.
That's interesting. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's the motivating reason. And when I found out that I had a following, then I knew I could monetize it through affiliate market, ads, ebooks. That what caused me to create The Power of Unexpected Miracles, to create 3 more journals. And now I'm looking at doing a 21-day online digital course. And I'm also rolling out lifestyle happiness sessions packages.
Wow, you're on fire. So let's back up a second. Now, you only started this 2 years ago, you said?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow, and you're doing all of that. But, let me, because I don't want to scare people. There's a lot of like new business owners, people that were never in business before,
Sure.
that follow me. And like, you just went through a whole slew of actions and planning and implementation that most people don't know they even have to do, because you're already an entrepreneur. You're a realtor.
You got a good point there.
So you're a realtor.
Yeah.
And I just want people to know that, like, you put down some of the fundamental things that I teach that people have to know about in business. Because you've been practicing them. You know about marketing, right?
Well, I would like to think I do. But every day you learn more and more, right?
Well, yeah, it never ends. So the technology never ends, but the fundamentals really stay the same. So let's just go back a second, because what I like to do is the sequence of events to show people that there is an order to laying out a business. And so you started with the blog, right? Mm-hmm. And then you said you had a following. Yeah. Is that like a wake-up call? Like, oh my God, somebody's like reading my stuff?
Yes, because the good thing about blogs is that always at the end, you can leave your comments and reviews and everything, and you can engage with them too. And I just couldn't believe it. People were coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, I'm so glad that I have a place to come to and know that I'm not the only one suffering from anxiety or things of that nature. And when I saw the traffic getting better and better, I decided, you know what, if I am going to be retired and I am going to blog, I better be making money from it. So
my favorite hobby.
That is when I said, you know what, I'm doing it. I'm going to put my pencil down, get a professional website. Let's have a business plan, a marketing plan, and a budget.
Okay. So I'm looking in When now to see if we're live, and I'm not saying us. And I got a feeling it has to do with Haley still being live in there. So, that's a little disappointing. She said that it shouldn't interfere, but I think it is. Anyway, if we are on when, or if you're watching, give me a hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. I'm going to ask Haley if you're not on, if we can do a watch party after this. Because actually, I don't know, I'm fascinated with Facebook and StreamYard because I think I started doing watch parties and more people watch the watch party than they do when I'm live.
I agree. I started doing Facebook Lives because of Haley Gray and Jenny Wright. And I the first time I thought I'm going to get crickets, but there were some people there. But then afterwards, the watch party, then I started saying, oh my gosh, the views are going up and up and up. And the first Facebook Live, although I had only maybe 5 or 6 at the most at the live itself, it went over 500 views.
Wow.
In 48 hours. So you're right. So if you do it well, and it's interesting enough, you'll get people to watch it and share it.
Yeah, it's a great, Haley introduced me to this platform and, it works. And, so, yeah, and, I have a group. Do you have a Facebook group? Did you just do the 5-day challenge with Haley?
Oh yeah, you know okay. They're not gonna let me go. Actually, it is Facebook group / Achieving Happiness. Don't you know? So it's Achieving Happiness, and I had it already started last year, mid-year. So I had about 1,000 at the time when I started with Haley's group. I think now it's ready to hit 1,200.
Wow!
So in the last 30 days with her. All her fantastic strategies and tips, it's kind of taken off, and you're going like gangbusters. I know that. So
I just listen to what she says. It was pretty simple. Mm-hmm. You got to implement it. You've got to be consistent. And she talks about the crickets.
Yeah.
But people, you'd be surprised. I mean, I was surprised. I started getting emails and I was asking people like, where did you? Usually I get referrals from other clients. That's where most of my business comes. And all of a sudden, I'm getting people that they say they've been following me.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, wait, what do you mean you're following me? Should I, do I need a bodyguard or something? No, they were. They were your
regular fans, right?
Well, I do this, then I download the video, and I usually upload it to YouTube. So some people are seeing me on YouTube. And, that's why I asked you when you were doing the blog, and then you saw people are actually following you. Yeah. For me, it was like, that's the way it's supposed to work. But it's like amazing when you're like, it works. It's unbelievable.
When you dial in, I think it worked. And you know what, Joe, you probably agree. And I've found out by doing these Facebook Lives, people want to see the person behind the website. They want to see if you're a legitimate, authentic individual. And it allows you to create relationships and get that trust level, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that they are wanting to do business with you. They seek you out. And obviously they sought you out, sending you an email, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's like, this internet thing that you can do business on. But what you're saying is and I tell Haley this, that's why she's successful. Because you get Haley Gray. She's not somebody else, that's her.
In all her glory, right?
and for you, I think it's probably even more powerful because you have people that want to talk about a subject that they're not going to go out, to the park and talk about in public, right?
Right. And that's the beauty of that messenger. I mean, you can be totally private, and that was one reason why I made the group private as well, is that I only wanted like-minded individuals that were there to encourage and inspire one another, but also were touched by someone or someone they knew who was suffering from mental illness. And that's our mission statement: is achieving happiness is to do our part and be a big presence, hopefully, on the internet, to be a mental health advocate and remove the stigma that is still there. It's still somewhat there.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've come a long way. But now, so what did you do? Because, there's doctors and psychiatrists and therapists that deal with mental illness. Now, did you come up with your own unique program? I mean, are you competing with them, or
No.
do you?
Well,
Okay.
actually, I can't compete, because you hit on the very thing, is that I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a social worker. My business studies was in business administration, i.e., that's how I became a realtor. However, I had unique life experience. I mean, it wasn't just the postpartum. I mean, Joe, I can dive in and tell you that mental illness historically it runs in my family, generation after generation. And like with your mother, I had a grandmother who had a meltdown, and they didn't know what the problem was. She probably was bipolar, and they didn't know it back then,
Right.
And she ended up finding herself in a sanitarium, if you will, and she went through the electrical shocks.
Oh God.
So anyway, with that in mind, I knew that I needed my group to someone they could relate with. Well, I have a psychiatrist as a friend. I have a psychologist, Jenny Friedman rather. She has a degree in psychology. My daughter has a degree in psychology. And the one thing that they advised me was, don't portray yourself as giving advice or therapy or that type of thing, because you are not licensed and you'll have to disclose that. So I had to pivot. I had to learn to pivot and take my life experiences, the wealth of information I read, et cetera, and become a mental health advocate, awareness advocate, and be an in-between person. Like, if people come to me, they're not generally have mental illness. Generally, they're just depressed or have a little bit of anxiety.
Well, they're just not happy.
Yeah, but they're just not happy, and they're trying to get back to their happy place again. That I can help all day long with, and there is a tremendous need for that. However, I do also have all these wonderful resources that if someone comes to me, like private messages me, and it's pretty obvious that they need a little bit more professional help, then I will redirect them to the resource or organization what they need. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm just in a unique place where people can safely come to me and tell me anything, and I'll listen. They can vent, and then I can give them a plan of action of coping tips that helped me, that I pass on to them. So I would like to think I have a Meiji Smile Back formula that is generally successful. So that's where I am. So I'm kind of the go-between. But yet there's a big market for someone, because think about it, going back to the men about not reaching out for help. There is an attitude out there, right or wrong, yes or right, but there's an attitude that, don't tell me I need to go see a therapist or a consultant. I'm not going to do it. So there's this denial factor, right? But what they will do is they'll seek out I just want to be happy and they find me, and at least I will listen, and perhaps they just need a little nudge, to realize that happiness comes from them. They have to take ownership of it, and it's a choice, to reclaim your happiness and your joy. So I think I found my niche.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I don't know why I get these flashes. I'm thinking of the King's Speech. Did you ever watch that?
I can't say that I can recall. I watched several movies with the word king in it.
So the King's Speech, and this was based on a true story. I don't remember who it was, but he had a stuttering problem, and he was the
Oh,
king.
I know who it was. I saw it. It's from
Okay,
British.
and right. So they got a guy that wasn't a doctor, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm just this, like, I forget. I'm paraphrasing. He was like, I'm just a guy." And then the pivotal moment was at when he said something like, he just said one thing that changed. He was like, "I think that you're a brave man," and all of a sudden it
It
hit him.
resonated. Yeah, it resonated. I think he was some type of a teacher or a professor in studies, but he was able to, he really had that ability to listen. And then he would develop, depending on your situation, how he could, didn't he have him memorize and repeat certain sentences? And then to make himself feel safe, he put him in a room that was isolated but padded and made it feel of comfort. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't remember all the but what got me was when you said, sometimes it's just a little tweak, and that because they brought it up in a talk I was listening to. Actually, I think it was a podcast, and they talked about, it was that one little sentence that just put everything in alignment for him.
Yeah, that little nudge.
Right, and it sounds like that's what you do for people. So this is great. So now you're in business. Now you have a following. Now you have a Facebook group. Are you incorporated?
I do have an incorporation, and I need to tie it in with Meiji Smile Back. But
okay.
Yes, I do. As you said, that as a realtor, I am in business for myself. So
yeah, that's a mistake. New people, unless they've been in business a long time, they just never take that next step. But
I think the word of advice from me anyway is that if anyone's listening that are thinking about especially an online type of business, you really, really have to treat it like a business.
It is a business.
Yes. and it requires all the same type of resources to get it to the level it needs to be, and to get exposure, get your face out there, right? All of that.
And, I call it doing business intentionally. So, like, you just took all these steps because I think you're naturally used to doing them as a realtor. And that, part of, when I interview people, I like to just demonstrate, this is what Beth has done. She didn't just, say, "Oh, I want to go and help the world." And, you're taking it step by step, and I respect that. So what else? So you wrote a book, right?
Yes.
How do people get it? Are you on Amazon?
I'm on Amazon, KDP. It's in digital format. It's in paperback. You can go to Barnes and Noble, Target. You can even go to Walmart, and you can get it. It's called
Really?
The Unexpected Miracles. And I'm writing a second book. Will be out in about 2 months, and it'll be called Secrets to Achieving Happiness.
So there's secrets now too.
Well, I like to think it's the Meiji Smile Back formula. But yeah, I think there are definite things that one can do to get you to the other side easily. And a lot of people just take things for granted. And so I'm kind of like a gentle reminder of what they need to do. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do, but they need someone to tell them.
We go through this it's amazing the stuff that just gets revealed in these masterminds, Beth, because I do a lot of them, but it's almost like a recurring theme. Like when somebody talks about, oh, I'm doing 5 different things at the same time. It turns out everybody's doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, I lost my train of thought now, but shoot.
My biggest problem in managing my business, Joe, it is the time element, because you tend to wear a lot of different hats, you know. So time management has been something I've had to learn, for sure.
Well, yeah, and you know that as a realtor, once you go into business for real, you're out of time. We're out of time. There's not enough time to do. What are we going to do? Marketing? Are we going to service our clients? Are we going to do our bookkeeping? It becomes, you know, a daily
grind.
Well, I like to call it the daily challenge.
Okay.
How am I going to arrange my toys today? Are they going to be in order? Is somebody going to break one of my toys? Am I going to have to return one of the toys to the store? But yeah. So what else can I ask you? I'm drawing a blank.
I don't know.
Yeah. So this is where I was going with this. Tony Robbins.
Oh yeah.
And because I watched an amazing Netflix show with him, where he took these people that were suicidal.
Ooh.
And you got to watch it. I forget what the name of it, but he like handpicks these people. That's what, like, his staff goes out there and he picks the people that like are really about to jump off a bridge, and he just like it's amazing. It's like they get transformed like in front of you, like just what he does. And I don't think he's a doctor, right?
No. But probably what he does, he puts suggestions out, and he's rewiring your brain to think the right way, to be, you know, to get to the other side. That's amazing. I definitely got to check that out.
You got to. I don't remember the name of it, but this is what it. And I know that he uses NLP and auto suggestion. But to me, you know, it's more than that. It's almost like he helps put these people's put things in perspective.
Yeah, he's good at that.
You know, he's like, okay, so you feel like this. Well, why is that? You know, there's nothing you can do about it. But then, you know, like this one guy, you could just see him go, like physically. And I'm wondering, is that, like, if somebody's working with you, are you going to do, is that what you're going to do?
Well, I would like to think that everyone who has an experience with me, that after they've talked with me a little bit and get to know me and go through a happiness session or a course or read a book or something, or a blog even, that they come out smiling a little bit bigger than they did before. They have a different perspective, and they get on with their day and the days ahead, thinking about the things that were suggested, like gratitude, just a simple little thing of being gratified every single morning when you wake up. Name 3 things that you're grateful for. You know, it's amazing how that can redirect your attitude from the beginning of your day. So yes, I would like to think that they experience that Meiji smile back aura, if you will. So,
you know, you say that 3, and I'm sure you got a lot of little tricks, like, but I just have to ask you, because my coach, Larry Broughton, you know, he starts a session with, what are 3 things you're grateful for right now?
Exactly.
Is that like, because when I tell him, like, oh my God, I feel it.
You force him to think, you know?
I'm sorry?
You force him to think.
Is that what it is? Like he's making, and I'm like, this is almost like trickery.
No.
I'm like, you're starting the meeting off and forcing me to be happy. You're tricking me into being happy. But is that, because I would love to, if that works, every time I see my daughter, that's how I'm going to start it. Tell me 3 things that you're happy grateful for?
That's mainly how I start my well, I go through a breathing exercise as well, but when I talk with someone, that's the first thing I have them do is right off the bat, right now, don't even think about it. What's the 3 things that you're grateful for?
Wow, I got to start doing that. So we only have a couple more minutes. I would love 2 things. That I would love to see this breathing exercise. And tell me about this, what do you call it, a happiness session?
Yes, a happiness session, basically. It's where you are actually in control of the session. I'm just more of a facilitator, but I let you vent. I listen intuitive of what's causing your anguish. And then I suggest, well, have you thought about this? Or why do you feel you feeling this way? Did something trigger it? And if you find a trigger, then can you avoid it? Or redirect your energies that are woe is me and you're overthinking and you're anxious and all that, and replace it with positive thoughts of things that you can do right then and there to do it. So
is this a free session? Is this part of your
right
plan?
now I'm offering a 30-minute one-on-one talk with Beth. I talk with Joe, talk with Beth, and it's a complimentary session right now just to get some feedback. Then probably in 30 days, I'll have formal packages that one can enroll in for weekly or monthly sessions and have resources and that type of thing.
So how do they sign up for this? Do they go to your website or the?
Yes, at the website, there is a sign up for it. And also, I think I gave you a link that they can go directly to if they'd like. And they can, if they're on Facebook, you know what? Just use Messenger. Just drop me a private message, and I'll get in touch with you, and we'll take it from there.
Okay. Because I just want to get this straight, because you might have given me an idea for a new business, which is scary. Because I'm thinking, man, there's sometimes I just want to, like, what did you call it? Like, just let it all out. Like, you don't know what she did to me. Then that guy cut me off.
You want that Joe experience,
Yeah. So I'm thinking, so people could connect with you and just like let off all the steam.
They can be themselves, basically. Yeah. Just the first component of being a great coach is that you have to listen to the content closely. You can't just listen to hear the words. It's totally different, right?
I hear you. They say, good salesman does a lot of listening. So.
Yeah, because you can pick up on cues that what they're passionate about, and then you hone in, or target it.
Right.
Their sensitive points or their painful points, and then you can empathize with them and develop a plan of action, if you will, that they can do. Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to say, God bless you, because I could not do it when you're. See, I would look at it like you're throwing all your negative energy at, but so it does it. It takes a special kind of person to do what you do.
Thank you.
Just like I look at what you do almost like the caretakers. Like, we need you, and I don't ever want your job. Seriously, you're like the kind of person like. I would send my daughter to you. My kids. How many people don't have a day? Like, what? I could use one of those happiness sessions, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more difficult days than others. And I don't know about you, but things always seem to happen in threes. So if you lost your keys early in the morning, then later in the day, somebody goes in front of you and takes your parking spot, and then you know how it is. It just keeps like that.
Yeah, so I have 2 things so far today, so I'm just waiting for the third. All right, thanks, Beth. So let's do the breathing thing, and then I want to give you a chance to, always, how do they get in touch with you, and words of wisdom. So let's start with the breathing.
Okay, all right, I got my little notes here, so here we go. All right. Okay, this is what I call the Meiji smile back, and it's a heart-based clarity technique. And what this will do will boost your happiness hormones, or what is otherwise known as the feel-good transmitters. And this technique that I'm going to show you will immediately raise your oxygen levels in our blood system, and then which in turn stimulates our brain with oxytocin and serotonin. And in turn, what this ends up happening is you'll automatically start feeling better. It opens up your mind to opportunities and possibilities that you probably have not thought of, you've been distracted from. And it also opens up your heart and allows you to instantly de-stress and relieve any minor anxiety that you may be feeling at the moment. So the fundamentals are, it's important you have to get into a comfortable sitting position with your feet firmly placed on the ground and your hands resting on your knees, and you can close your eyes. I like to close my eyes. Some people don't, but I just feel like when you close your eyes, you're in the moment, if you will, I think a little bit deeper level. And then what I do before we start, I explain that I want you to think about the life struggle you're currently going through, that you're going to take this life struggle, this depression, this anxiety, whatever it may be, and you're going to face it head on, okay? So what I want you to do is we're going to inhale through our nose and count to 4 and hold it for another 4 counts. And then while we're doing this, we're going to accept and embrace and face full on the life difficulty you're facing or stressing over right now, okay? And then after that, I shall ask you to exhale through your nose. And this time you're going to exhale slowly, doubling the count to 8. And when you do this, everyone, I want you to think of releasing and removing that negative energy you're holding on to right now. And I want you to say deliberately and loudly in your mind, I deserve the right to be happy. I choose to reclaim my happiness. I will come back to my happy self again. Okay, so you ready, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, get fully relaxed. Now, again, think of a life struggle that you're currently facing right now. Now take a deep breath and inhale, hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale, counting to 8, and release that negative energy and open up your heart and mind to the happiness and joy that is your birthright to have. Okay? I'm going to repeat this one more time. Inhale, hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's get these happiness feelings going. Let's become the happy, positive, and productive person you were meant to be. There you go.
So,
You feel better now?
where am I? Yeah, I feel like relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It is really scientific that when you slow down your breathing and you do these breathing exercises, I'm not the first to come up with it. You can watch them all day long on YouTube on meditation and what therapists use and all that type. but it really does bring oxygen into your bloodstream, and then in turn it goes up into your brain, and you get that serotonin and oxytocin, and I think dopamine. There's all those scientific chemicals that.
Yeah, no, I definitely I felt like, you know, like my blood pressure went down.
There you go.
Like I was getting all excited, and now I'm like, oh.
Now you're
Awesome.
you're less stressed. You're less stressed.
Yeah, we're without alcohol. All right, so how do people get in touch with you and words of wisdom?
Well, the way you get in touch with me is just think Meiji smile back. Okay, when you're in a down moment, how can I made you smile back.com. I am on Facebook, and Achieving Happiness is my Facebook group that I would love for anyone would like to join. Yes, I have some other books and stuff like that, but you can find all of that on the website. And words of advice, I think, one, you need to take things slower. You need to appreciate the little things in your life. And you have to truly realize there's things you can't control, but there's things you can. And one of the things you can control is your deliberate choice to choose happiness and reclaim your joy. Don't let anyone take away your joy.
Excellent. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
And that wraps up another awesome episode of How You Can Win a Business. Visit mastermindwithjoedechara.com, and maybe you'll catch Beth in one of our meetings. And that's our story. We're sticking with it. Beth, I think this, I'm not trying to be rude. Sometimes when I hit end broadcast, it just ends, and so I'll say good night.
Okay.
And if you're still here, we'll chat for a minute. All right. So anyway, good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.